So I just got back from my first cruise with Virgin Voyages. So I decided I'm going to share my overall review and also share a few things that I think people should know that are interested. Okay, we are wasting no time here. Let's get right into it. Starting with the booking. I think the booking process was very easy. I honestly don't know how I found out about Virgin Voyages. First of all, if you don't know what Virgin Voyages is all about, they are an adult-only cruise, which was my selling point. I did a cruise for my birthday from January 2nd to the 6th. Best time for me that I thought I could have went. I thought it was perfect timing. But yeah, booking was very easy. I booked a lock-it-in rate sea terrace view. So with the lock-it-in rate, it's cheaper, but they choose your cabin for you. So you don't have the luxury of choosing where you are, which worked out perfectly for me and for everyone that I booked with. Actually, my family, my two sisters, my mom, and my cousin went, and they all did the same thing, and we all loved our cabin. So there was no complaint there. I think they do say when you do the lock-it-in rate that your cabin may have an obstructed view, and for me, I just had those you can see those mini emergency boats underneath me, but I didn't even see that as an issue. I honestly had no complaints with my room, so very great. If you're looking for a room tour or if you're interested in a cabin tour, definitely check out my page because there should be a video up with that. To me, one of the cons that I ran into when booking was that there was no drink package that you can buy. So if you're looking to have, a really fun time and you want to have, alcohol a part of your package, you want everything to be truly and all-inclusive, they do not have that option, but they do have a bar tab that you can buy, and they do a promotion. For when I was purchasing, they had a promotion where you buy the $300 bar tab and then they give you $100. So total, you have $400 to spend aboard, and that'll already be a part of your account. So you just kind of tap your bracelet wherever you want to spend and it's there. For me, I wasn't too sure if that would be worth it, so I didn't do that. But they also do say if you want to share that bar tab with people in your party or whoever you're traveling with, you can do that as well. So you can technically purchase that bar tab and split it with your friends. I will say, after sailing myself, I spent about $300 total, but I only had to pay for $100, which I'll get into why. So I guess looking back, it could be worth it if you're just looking to have a good time and just ball out. But it depends on how much you want to drink. In my party, sometimes I was just taking the bill for everyone, and then another person would do the same. So I think that's kind of how it added up, because we were all ended up paying for each other sometimes. If you're not a drinker, definitely don't do it. You can just pay for the drinks as you go. But if you do plan to have a good time, I would recommend it after my first cruise. So as I just mentioned, I spent a total of $300 on alcohol and other purchases, but I only had to pay $100, and that is because I had sailor loot. So for me and my party, I was the first person to book. I actually booked it as a solo trip, but then some family ended up coming. They give you a link once you book that you can send out to your friends, family, whoever is coming with you. And if they book through that link, you will get $50, and so will that person get $50. Was it 4 people? I think I sent it to 4 people, and I ended up getting $200 of sailor loot. So I had $200 to spend on board, and it's not only for alcohol. It applies to coffee, because coffee is also not included. Interesting. Coffee. They even have like a shop. I had to buy some feminine products when I got there. That applies to it as well. So you do have some other things you can spend it on. It'll be key for you to be the first person to book and then send your link out to everyone that's going, and you'll be cashing out. And continuing on with the Facebook groups, that is something I also do recommend. That is honestly what made our trip so good. For me, I think it's so important to connect with other people with other Black travelers, because sometimes you don't know what spaces you're going into when you're traveling. So there was actually an African-American travelers group for that specific sailing that I was on, or voyage that I was on. So I got to connect with a lot of women, Black women, and people of color that were traveling. So that was pretty nice. We all connected on board as well and off board. There's also 2 other groups that I joined. One that was just a regular Virgin Voyages Scarlet Lady. I went on the Scarlet Lady cruise, so there was a Facebook group just for everyone that's interested in the Scarlet Lady. And then there's also a group for my voyage, just for like everyone, whoever can join or whoever found the group were able to join. I think that was a big help for our trip because we were also able to ask questions. This was my very first cruise, so I knew nothing. So it was pretty cool to see all the people beforehand, and then also connect with some people on board on each of the groups. So definitely check out Facebook before you sail if you're interested in connecting with people, especially if you're solo traveling. A lot of people I met solo traveling became besties with people on board, even even I became besties with some of them, and we all had a great time. For me, this is kind of like a con. I feel like they didn't share this, or they don't say it when you book, or maybe they do and I just didn't read the fine print. Might be on me, but when you are booking, your passport has to be valid 6 months after your voyage. So say your sailing ends on January 6th, your passport has to be valid for 6 months after that. But luckily there's a lot of ways to work around it. For me, mine wasn't valid for that long of a time. I need to get my passport renewed. But I was able to call, and it was just easy as them saying, okay, just bring your ID. So really there was no issues, but it kind of just scared me beforehand because I didn't realize it until a week before I was sailing. So obviously I can't get a new passport in a week. But yeah, but if you do find that your passport is not valid for 6 months after you're sailing, you're good to go. Just email. I called and they told me I was fine, just bring my ID. But I also emailed and I got it in writing that I was good. I just need to have my ID. Some people bring their birth certificates. They're very, very accommodating. So that's definitely a pro for me as well. Okay, so we booked everything. We're all good to go. We're getting excited. Let's get into when you arrive at the port. Very exciting energy. I really loved the workers. They were all very great at getting you hyped up. I didn't feel overwhelmed. And one thing I really loved is that they take your luggage there. I mean, this is my first cruise, so maybe they all do that, but it just, for me, being my first cruise and worrying about, okay, now I gotta lug all my luggage, it was really nice for them to be so nice and for everyone to take my luggage. They take your room number down, so they deliver your luggage for you to your room, which is just so convenient. And I just really loved the experience there. We met one guy named Jacob. He was amazing. He started singing, and which is great. And actually, I'll get into the app a little later, but you have to set your check-in time. So as soon as you book, I think you can set your check-in time. You want to do it to the earliest time, so you get in and you get there and you can just check in right away. So I set my check-in time to the earliest time, but the rest of the people in my party were much later. So the workers were able to get us all in at the earliest check-in time. Once we went to them, they let us all check in together at the earliest time, which I thought was awesome. Next, we're gonna talk about the bracelets they give you. So if you're wondering on how you get access to your room and how you purchase things, everything is activated through the little band that they give you. It's very cute, it's very dainty, but mine fell off a bunch of times. For me, some of the people in my party had no issues, some other people did. For me, mine fell off in the ocean. Mine got lost on like the third day, I think. I just lost it somewhere on the ship. So that was kind of a worry for me, especially when I lost it in the ocean. I was off the port in the Bahamas, so getting back on, I was like, are they gonna let me on?
Fell off in the ocean, so we're gonna see if I can get back on the ship.
Luckily there were no issues. So I will say the con, I just wish there was like maybe a clasp. It wasn't really a clasp, it kind of just like hooked on and you just had to hope that it would stay on. A pro is the team is amazing. The first time mine fell off, it was dropped somewhere on the ship and I guess someone found it and they took it to sailor services. And when I got there, she's like, oh yes, I was waiting for you. So they were able to swipe it. She saw my face, she saw my cabin number, and she was actually able to deactivate my bracelet until I got there. And so she already knew who I was when I got there. So I was like, oh my God, that was amazing. And then the time when it fell off in the ocean, getting back to the port from the Bahamas, it was also easy too. I just had to have my ID with me and they were able to call sailor services and let them know that it was me. They were able to verify me and I just had to go up and get a new bracelet and hopefully it wouldn't happen again, and it didn't. For me, for the rooms, I love my room. If you my cousin actually had an internal room and it was very small, kind of gave me closet vibes, but if you're just one person and you know you're not going to be in your room a lot, I think those are definitely doable. But for me, I really wanted the sea terrace. I wanted the little red hammock they have. And I really was extremely happy with that. I don't really know anyone that wasn't happy with the cabin that they got. I didn't run into that, thankfully. And especially for someone that did the lock-it-in rate and didn't know what room I was getting until like the day before, it was nice that everything worked out perfectly. I loved my room. And of course, seasickness. This was my first cruise and I've heard a lot of bad things about getting seasick. I had absolutely no issues. There were times where you can kind of feel it rocking, and I was on deck 10, 310Z, in case you got my room, and I was forward. So they say forward is where you can kind of feel the ship a little bit more moving, and I had no issues. I did feel it sometimes, but it wasn't like a alarming feeling at all. I actually thought it was comforting sometimes, so maybe that's just me. But also no one in my party had seasickness. Also, another thing to remember about the rooms, if you book a room and you're kind of not regretting it, but you're kind of wishing you booked another room, or if you booked a room and you're interested in an upgrade, I think it was about like a week before my voyage, they sent an email where you could bid on an upgrade. So you can just put down, it'll tell you the price. I think my sister, she originally booked an ocean view, so there was no terrace. She was able to pay to bid on an upgrade, and she ended up getting that upgrade. So maybe you're just trying to save money at first, but you ended up wanting to spend a little bit more money for a better view or a better room. They will give you the opportunity to bid for an upgrade. And on my voyage, I think it might depend on the number of people on that voyage, but my mom or my sister and a couple other people I met did get their upgrades when they put a bid in. Another big thing, a part of your voyage is booking the activities, the events, the shows. For me, a con sometimes, I feel like the app, luckily I didn't have too many issues with the app. I know a lot of other people did, but everything books up so fast. Like our excursion, we didn't get to book. We were kind of a little late with that. But also I feel like it was very overwhelming getting on the ship and just the excitement that we kind of forgot to go right down and book everything. And that's what a lot of people were doing. So if you don't book ahead, things will get booked up, especially dinner. Luckily, we didn't book Razzle Dazzle, which was a popular place to eat on board, but we were able to walk into there, but we were not able to walk into Extraversion, and that I heard was amazing. So that's the only place I missed, which I regret, but all the bookings were all booked up. So as soon as you get the app, you're able to start booking your dinner reservations, but you can't book your excursions, you can't book shows, you can't book events on board until you're on the ship and connected to their Wi-Fi. So, but everything worked out. We ended up still getting to leave the port, and there were things to do right when we got off the port. So we still had a great time, but it still would have been nice to do some of the things they had a part of the tour. So definitely you want to get there prepared. I would make a list, look at the app, make a list of things you want to do when you want to book it so you are prepared. So I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. All in all, this is my first cruise, so I don't have much to compare it to, but talking to a lot of the other sailors that have been cruisers or longtime cruisers, everyone raves about Virgin Voyages. And I would be back hands down. I kind of am not even interested in any other cruise line just because of the fact that it is adult only. Like, after that, like, I cannot imagine running around and there being kids there. No offense to kids, but sometimes when I'm on vacation, I don't want to be around kids. I think just some cons. I wish it was fully all-inclusive with a drink package that we could have bought. I guess the bar tab is that, but I just wish it would have been included in the cost along with the food. But the food is great. Food is definitely worth that money. When it comes to shows, I definitely would book I think it's called like the dance party thing. It's in quotes and it's in all caps, the dance show party thing. I think that's what it's called. Such a great time. I would book that your first night because it really got us hyped for our first night there. And then also the cabaret show. That is one thing I didn't get to book. I'm really mad about that because I heard it is interactive. They pull you on stage. It's a little frisky, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. I wasn't there. There's also a circus show. My mom went and she wasn't really feeling it, but it all depends what you're into. But things I hear people talk about is the dance party thing and the cabaret. So keep those two in your head as you are planning what shows to book. If you're interested in seeing everything I did during my sailing, I did 4 vlogs, a vlog for each day, and they're all up on my channel, so definitely go check that out. But that is it for this video. I hope this helped you guys out if you are interested or about to sail on Virgin Voyages. Highly recommend. You're gonna have the time of your life. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and if I can answer them, I will. And let's stay connected. I will see you guys in my next video.